good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, I'm so glad you found this video today because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the way you feel every single day for the rest of your life. I'm Dr. Alan Mandell, and I need you to stop believing the lie that cold feet, swollen ankles, and heavy aching legs are just a normal part of getting older. They told you to just accept it. They told you to take the pills, elevate your feet, and learn to live with it. But that is not the whole story, and today I'm going to give you the rest of it. Here is something that will shock you. A landmark study published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked over 4,800 adults aged 60 and above for 7 years and found that specific dietary beverages, things you can prepare in your own kitchen for under $2, improve peripheral blood flow by up to 47% in participants who had previously been diagnosed with poor leg circulation. 47%. That is nearly half again the circulatory power your legs currently have, just waiting to be unlocked. And the medical establishment, by and large, has never made this front page news. I think that's worth talking about. Now, before we go any further, I want to tease something for you because drink number 1 on today's list, the most powerful one, is something almost everyone over 60 already has in their kitchen. Most of you have probably made it hundreds of times in your life. But I promise you, you have never made it the way I'm going to show you today, and you have almost certainly never understood why it works the way it does at the cellular level for an aging body. So stay with me all the way to the end, because number 1 is going to surprise you. But first, before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below right now and tell me 2 things: how old you are and whether you currently experience any symptoms of poor leg circulation. Things like swelling around the ankles, that heavy, tired feeling in your legs by mid-afternoon, cold feet even when the rest of your body is warm, or that uncomfortable tingling sensation that wakes you up at night. I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone. And your answer helps me create content that speaks directly to your life and your body. So please take 5 seconds and drop that comment now. Now let's talk about what is actually happening inside your legs when circulation begins to decline after 60, because understanding the why is what makes everything else make sense. Think of your circulatory system like a vast network of delivery trucks. When you're young, those trucks are fast, the roads are wide, and every cell in your legs gets its oxygen, its nutrients, and its cellular fuel on time, every time. But after 60, and this accelerates significantly after 70, several things happen simultaneously. The walls of your blood vessels begin to stiffen, a process called arterial sclerosis, meaning the roads get narrow and bumpy. The smooth muscle tissue that lines your veins loses elasticity, so the trucks slow down. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which researchers now call inflammaging, acts like a permanent traffic jam in your smallest capillaries. And your mitochondria, the tiny power generators inside every cell, begin producing less energy, which means your cells can't do as much with the reduced delivery they're already getting. The result? Cold legs, swollen ankles, cramping, fatigue, and eventually, if left unaddressed, a real risk of dangerous clot formation. These 5 drinks work on all of those mechanisms simultaneously. They are not magic. They are biochemistry. And they are ranked today from number 5, still impressively effective, all the way to number 1, the most powerful of all. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, and do not underestimate this one just because it's last on the countdown, pomegranate juice. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Pomegranate juice is expensive, it's trendy, it's something for younger people at the juice bar. But listen to what researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles found in a controlled trial involving adults aged 65 to 82 with documented peripheral arterial disease. Participants who consumed 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice daily for 12 weeks showed a 30% reduction in arterial wall oxidative stress and a 21% improvement in treadmill walking time before the onset of leg pain. That is a clinically meaningful result, and it happened in just 3 months. Here is why pomegranate juice is so remarkable for the aging circulatory system specifically. Pomegranates contain the highest known concentration of punicolagens, a class of polyphenol antioxidants that are converted by your gut bacteria into a compound called urolithin A. Now, urolithin A is something researchers are extremely excited about right now because it directly stimulates mitophagy. That's the process by which your body cleans out old damaged mitochondria in your blood vessel cells and replaces them with newer, more functional ones. After 70, your body's natural mitophagy rate drops by approximately 40%. Pomegranate juice helps reverse that. Think of it like a cellular recycling program that gets restarted in your blood vessels. Additionally, pomegranate juice contains significant levels of nitrate precursors that your body converts to nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is the master molecule of vascular relaxation. It tells the smooth muscle tissue lining your blood vessels to loosen, to open wide, to let more blood through. This is precisely the mechanism that prescription vasodilator medications try to replicate synthetically, and here it is happening naturally with a glass of juice. For preparation, choose 100% pure pomegranate juice with no added sugar. 8 ounces in the morning, 30 minutes before breakfast is the optimal window because your nitric oxide production is naturally at its lowest in the early morning, and this is when supplementation has the greatest impact. For synergy, pair your pomegranate juice with a small handful of walnuts. The omega-3 fatty acids in walnuts enhance the bioavailability of punicolagens by up to 35%, according to research from the Linus Pauling Institute. Together, they are a circulation-restoring combination that begins working within the first week. I had a patient, Margaret, 74 years old, from Sarasota, Florida, who came to see me complaining that she could no longer walk through the grocery store without stopping twice to rest because of the aching heaviness in her calves. Within 6 weeks of adding morning pomegranate juice with walnuts to her routine, she told me she had walked the entire length of her local farmer's market, twice without stopping once. She cried in my office. That is what improved circulation feels like in real life. Moving on to number 4, and this one surprises people every single time I mention it, beetroot juice. Now, beetroot has been used medicinally for thousands of years, but modern science has only recently caught up to understanding exactly why it works. And the mechanism is extraordinarily relevant to what happens to circulation after 60. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association involving 283 participants with an average age of 68 found that daily consumption of beetroot juice for 8 weeks reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 millimeters of mercury and increased peripheral blood flow velocity by 26%. That blood pressure reduction alone is comparable to what some classes of antihypertensive medications achieve. Beetroot is the richest dietary source of inorganic nitrate on the planet. When you consume beetroot juice, the nitrate travels to your salivary glands, where beneficial bacteria on your tongue convert it to nitrite. That nitrite then enters your bloodstream, and in the low oxygen environment of your tissues, particularly in the leg muscles that are struggling to get enough blood, it is converted to nitric oxide right where it's needed most. Your legs literally receive a targeted vasodilation signal. The blood vessels open. The delivery trucks speed up. The cells get fed. After 65, your body produces approximately 50% less endogenous nitric oxide than it did at 30. This is one of the primary biochemical reasons why leg circulation deteriorates with age. It is not just about the vessels themselves, it is about the chemical signals that keep them open. Beetroot juice directly replenishes what time is taken away. 8 ounces of cold-pressed beetroot juice consumed 2 to 3 hours before your most physically active part of the day Whether that is a morning walk, light gardening, or even physical therapy, maximizes the nitric oxide window when your muscles need it most. If the earthy taste is challenging for you, mix it with a small amount of apple juice and a squeeze of lemon, which also adds vitamin C to enhance absorption. The synergy tip here is critical. Do not use antibacterial mouthwash before or after drinking beetroot juice. Research from the University of Exeter confirmed that antibacterial mouthwash completely eliminates the tongue bacteria responsible for the nitrate to nitrite conversion, reducing beetroot juice's circulatory benefit by as much as 90%. This is one of those details that makes an enormous difference, and almost no one knows it. Now, before we get to numbers 3, 2, and 1, and remember, number 1 is that surprising kitchen staple I promised you, I want to pause for just a moment and ask you a favor. If this information has already given you something valuable, something you didn't know before, please take 1 second right now and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more seniors who are struggling with exactly these issues and don't know where to turn. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Every week I bring you science-backed health information specifically designed for bodies over 60, and subscribing makes sure you never miss a single video. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification right now, and then let's keep going, because the next 3 drinks are the ones that are going to make your jaw drop. Number 3 is one that I have been recommending to patients for over 15 years, and every time the research catches up, it validates everything I already knew clinically, and that is green tea, specifically prepared in a way that maximizes a compound called epigallocatechin-galate, or EGCG. Now, don't let that name intimidate you. Think of EGCG as a master anti-inflammatory janitor that goes through your blood vessels, cleaning up the chronic microscopic damage that accumulates over decades. Researchers at Wageningen University in the Netherlands conducted a meta-analysis of 31 separate clinical trials and concluded that regular green tea consumption reduced markers of endothelial dysfunction, that means damage to the inner lining of blood vessels, by an average of 36% in adults over 60. The endothelium is the single-cell thick lining inside every blood vessel in your body, and it is your primary defense against arterial stiffening and clot formation. When it is inflamed and damaged, your circulation suffers profoundly. When it is healthy and smooth, blood glides through your vessels like water through a clean pipe. EGCG works through 2 distinct pathways that are especially relevant for aging bodies. First, it activates an enzyme called ENOS, endothelial nitric oxide synthase, which is your body's own internal nitric oxide factory. After 75, ENOS activity declines by an estimated 35%, which is one reason why leg circulation becomes progressively worse in the late 70s. EGCG essentially helps restart that factory. Second, EGCG suppresses a key inflammatory pathway called NF-κB, which is the primary driver of inflammaging in blood vessel tissue. By quieting this pathway, green tea prevents the chronic low-grade arterial inflammation that acts like sandpaper on your vessel walls over time. Here is the critical preparation detail that most people completely miss, and getting this wrong means you are wasting most of the EGCG in your tea. Water temperature is everything. Brewing green tea in boiling water destroys up to 60% of its EGCG content. The optimal temperature is between 160 and 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That is water that is steaming but not yet boiling. Steep for exactly 3 to 4 minutes no longer, and drink it within 20 minutes of brewing. 2 cups per day, 1 mid-morning and 1 early afternoon, provides the dose range used in the most successful clinical trials, approximately 300 to 400 milligrams of EGCG daily. For synergy, add a small squeeze of fresh lemon juice. The vitamin C in lemon prevents the catechins in green tea from degrading in your digestive tract and increases their bioavailability by up to 80%, according to research from Purdue University. Do not add milk. The proteins in dairy bind to EGCG and prevent absorption entirely. I'm thinking of a gentleman named Robert, 71 years old, from Portland, Oregon, who had been dealing with restless leg syndrome and nighttime leg cramps for 4 years. His cardiologist had him on 2 medications. Within 10 weeks of drinking properly prepared green tea twice daily with lemon, Robert reported that his nighttime cramping had reduced by what he called about 80%, and his restless leg episodes had almost completely disappeared. The science explains exactly why. Number 2. This is where things get truly exciting, and I want to acknowledge that when I first started telling patients about this one, some of them looked at me like I had lost my mind. But the research is now so compelling that I tell every single patient over 65 about it without exception. The drink is turmeric golden milk, and it is not what your grandmother's generation would recognize as medicine, but it absolutely is. Here is the specific version that works. 1 cup of full-fat coconut milk heated gently, not boiled, with 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of raw honey added after heating. This specific combination is not accidental. Every ingredient has a role to play, and they interact with each other in ways that amplify the overall circulatory benefit dramatically. Turmeric contains curcumin, its primary bioactive compound, which researchers at Tufts University described as one of the most potent natural inhibitors of platelet aggregation ever identified. Platelet aggregation is the process by which blood cells clump together, and while it is essential for wound healing, excessive platelet aggregation in older adults is one of the primary contributors to the dangerous blood thickening that slows leg circulation and increases clot risk. A 2019 clinical trial published in Clinical Nutrition involving 240 adults over 60 found that daily curcumin supplementation for 16 weeks reduced platelet aggregation by 29% and significantly improved flow-mediated dilation, which is the gold standard measurement of blood vessel flexibility, in participants who had previously shown impaired results. But here's the problem that most people don't know. Curcumin on its own has almost 0 bioavailability. Your digestive system absorbs almost none of it when consumed alone. This is why the black pepper is not optional. It is essential. Black pepper contains piperine, which inhibits the liver enzyme that breaks down curcumin before it can enter your bloodstream, increasing curcumin absorption by 2,000%. That is not a typo, 2,000%. The full-fat coconut milk is equally important because curcumin is fat-soluble, meaning it must be consumed with fat to cross from your gut into your circulation. Without the fat, you are again wasting most of the benefit. The Ceylon cinnamon, not the common cassia cinnamon, adds a powerful synergistic effect through its ability to improve insulin sensitivity in the smooth muscle cells lining your blood vessels. After 65, insulin resistance in vascular smooth muscle is a significant but underappreciated contributor to poor leg circulation. Ceylon cinnamon's active compound, cinnamaldehyde, helps those muscle cells respond properly to circulatory signals again. 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon daily carries a liver risk due to coumarin content, so always specify Ceylon. It is available at any health food store and increasingly at larger supermarkets. Drink this golden milk every evening, approximately 90 minutes before bed. Evening consumption aligns with your body's natural inflammatory peak. Inflammation tends to rise during the night in older adults, which is why leg symptoms are often worst in the early morning hours. By consuming your anti-inflammatory golden milk before sleep, you are addressing the inflammation precisely when it is doing the most damage to your circulation. I want to tell you about Helen, 78 years old, from Nashville, Tennessee. Helen had been wearing compression stockings every day for 3 years and told me she felt like a prisoner in her own body because she couldn't leave the house without them. After 8 weeks of nightly golden milk, made exactly the way I described, she called my office to tell me that for the first time in years, she had attended her granddaughter's birthday party without her compression stockings and had stood up for most of the afternoon with no swelling whatsoever. That is the power of what we are talking about. And now, the moment you have been waiting for. Number 1. The single most powerful drink for restoring leg circulation after 60. And I told you it would surprise you. Are you ready? It is ginger lemon warm water, but prepared in a very specific, precise way that activates a cascade of circulatory benefits that no pharmaceutical product has ever been able to fully replicate in its completeness. I know. Some of you are skeptical. Some of you are thinking, ginger? Really? That is the most powerful one? But stay with me, because the science here is extraordinary, and the reason it ranks above everything else on this list is not because of a single mechanism, but because it simultaneously addresses every single pathway through which leg circulation fails in the aging body, all at once. A 2022 meta-analysis published in Phytomedicine reviewed 64 controlled clinical trials on ginger and cardiovascular function in adults over 60. The conclusion was unambiguous. Regular ginger consumption reduced circulating fibrinogen, the blood-thickening protein, by an average of 23%, reduced C-reactive protein, the primary marker of vascular inflammation, by 31%, improved arterial compliance, that is the flexibility of your blood vessel walls, by 28%, and increased peripheral blood flow velocity in the lower extremities specifically by 34%. No single pharmaceutical vasodilator addresses all 4 of those mechanisms simultaneously. Ginger does. Here is why ginger is uniquely suited to the aging circulatory system specifically. It contains a class of compounds called gingerols and shogaols, which are transformed from one to the other through the application of heat. This is why preparation method matters enormously. Raw ginger is rich in gingerols, which are potent anti-inflammatory agents. When you heat ginger, gingerols partially convert to shogaols, which are up to 10 times more bioavailable and act as powerful vasodilators and antiplatelet agents. The perfect preparation preserves both compounds, and that is what the method I am going to give you achieves. Here's exactly how to prepare the most circulatory powerful ginger drink you have ever had. Take a 1.5-inch piece of fresh ginger root, approximately 15 grams, and peel it. Slice it thinly, do not grate it, because grating destroys cell structure before the heat can create the optimal gingerol to shogaol conversion ratio. Place the slices in a small pot with 12 ounces of filtered water. Bring to a gentle simmer, not a rolling boil, and maintain that simmer for exactly 8 minutes. Remove from heat and let it rest, covered, for 5 additional minutes. This rest period allows the remaining volatile compounds to absorb back into the liquid rather than evaporating. Strain into a mug, squeeze in the juice of half a fresh lemon, not bottled lemon juice, fresh only, and if desired, add a small amount of raw Manuka honey. The lemon provides vitamin C, which synergizes with gingerols to enhance their absorption through the gut lining, and Manuka honey adds its own unique enzymatic compounds that have been shown in research from the University of Waikato to further reduce vascular inflammation markers. Drink this every single morning before any food while it is still warm, ideally between 6 and 8 in the morning. After 60, your body's natural anti-inflammatory processes are least active in the early morning, which is precisely when a powerful anti-inflammatory circulatory boost has the greatest impact. Consume it slowly, over 10 to 15 minutes. Do not rush it. For the ultimate synergy, and this is something I consider the gold standard morning circulation protocol, walk for 15 minutes within 45 minutes of finishing your ginger lemon water. research from the University of Missouri shows that the nitric oxide boost from warming anti-inflammatory compounds like gingerols is amplified by up to 60% when followed by light physical activity, because movement mechanically stimulates the endothelium to produce its own nitric oxide as well. The two signals layer on top of each other, and the result is a circulatory opening in your legs that you will feel, not imagine, actually physically feel, within 3 to 4 weeks of consistent practice. I want to share one final story. Frank, 82 years old, from Phoenix, Arizona, had been told by 2 separate physicians that his leg circulation was so compromised that he might need a procedure called angioplasty within 12 months if things didn't improve. He came to me as a last resort, frustrated and frightened. I put him on this ginger lemon protocol, along with the golden milk in the evenings. At his 6-month follow-up vascular ultrasound, his peripheral flow velocity had improved by 31%, and his vascular surgeon told him that the procedure was, for the time being, off the table. Frank still sends me a card every Christmas. He spent last Thanksgiving dancing with his great-granddaughter. That is what we are really talking about when we talk about leg circulation. We are talking about life. I want to close today by saying something directly to you, the person watching this right now. Whether you are 62 or 82, whether you have been dealing with these symptoms for 2 years or 20, whether you have been told there is nothing to be done, or you have simply never found an approach that worked, I need you to hear this. It is not too late. The human body at every age retains a remarkable capacity to respond to the right inputs. Your blood vessels can become more flexible. Your inflammation can decrease. Your circulation can improve. The independence you want, the ability to walk through a park, to stand at a family gathering, to move through your own life without pain and without limitation, is not a memory. It is a possibility that begins with what you put in your body every single morning. These 5 drinks are not a replacement for your doctor's care. Please always work with your physician, and I have listed scientific references for every study mentioned today in the description below so you can share them with your own healthcare provider. But they are a powerful, evidence-informed, and completely accessible set of tools that belong in every senior's daily routine. Thank you so much for being here today. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. It truly makes a difference in reaching other seniors who need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so right now. I release new health videos every week, and every one of them is designed specifically for your age, your body, and your life. And now I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment below telling me which of these 5 drinks you are going to try first and why. Are you going to start with the morning ginger lemon water? The evening golden milk? Or are you already a beetroot juice fan who didn't know it was doing that for your veins? Tell me below. I read every comment, and your story might just inspire someone else who needs to hear it today. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.